Julie, why?
No one should give me a camera.
You come back from the dead, and then you get this. Then you become this demon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bunniichii Corner. I'm Jules.
I'm Maggie!
And I'm
Yay!
Luluko.
Yeah! Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow, Jules, your voice has really changed.
Thanks. I did vocal exercises when I was in the hellscape of Elysium. It's
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
How was that?
you know, I looked into the void looked back.
And you brought
As it
someone
does.
back with you.
I did. I brought Luluko.
I've been plunged from the depths of hell, and I am now on this podcast.
Woo!
Honestly, that's a worse punishment.
We're worse than purgatory. We are the final
Great.
True.
circle.
Excellent.
Welcome to the final circle, Lulu. Hi, it's nice to talk to you again. Thanks for
You
joining our
too.
nonsense.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
I am also happy you're here.
Yay. Like I said,
Because
I'm ready to yap. I'm ready to yap.
great. Because
Yo,
the first thing I
always.
want to yap about is mac and cheese.
Great.
The fucking mac and cheese.
Oh, I miss her so much.
It was so good.
So for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about,
For the peanut
when I met
gallery.
these two at Northwest Idol Fest 2023, I took
Oh,
everybody to Sharp's Roast House, which is across the
yes.
street from the hotel in Seattle, and they make sourdough mac and cheese,
It's so
and it
good.
is possibly the greatest thing ever created. And their cornbread is also the greatest thing ever created. It's basically the best place ever. And 2 weeks later, I moved to LA, and we have lots of lovely food here, but I miss Sharp's very badly.
It was so good. I think
Yeah.
about that anytime I want mac and cheese.
Honestly, I was dubious. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
was really questioning everyone losing their shit about mac and cheese. And I was like, fuck it, when in Rome. And then we went back the next night and got
Yep.
more mac and
More mac
cheese.
and cheese.
Hmm.
I think that was the primary meal we ate all weekend.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
we basically
100% the primary meal.
Correct.
We ate the snacks that we brought and stole, Maggie.
I
Uh,
stand by it.
and then we ate mac and cheese. We stole a lot of stuff that weekend, some of it on accident. You still have the booklets?
Oh yeah, it's on my bookshelf. It's right next to my aqua costume books.
Oh, it's really important then.
It's really important.
Lulu, did you know that we stole things that weekend?
We
Do you
still
abuse
think.
your guest privileges and stuff things?
No.
No. Well, uh no comment is what my lawyer told me. Um
Hypothetically, if we did steal things that weekend.
Uh-huh.
Hypothetically, allegedly, if for
Alle-
some
the
reason,
alleged theft.
if allegedly, Julie and I
What was
went
it?
to the Museum of Pop
Spicy
Culture,
Cheez-Its
allegedly. Oh wait, the
and
spicy
Oh.
Gatorade.
Cheez-Its. Oh yeah, we totally
It
stole
was
that. I mean,
spicy Cheez-Its and
Oh my God.
and then
allegedly,
we went to the Museum of
of
Pop
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 culture.
Culture.
Allegedly, if we did, and we might have
Mm-hmm.
potentially gone to a Leica exhibit, allegedly. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go before entering this alleged Leica exhibit, you could get
Mm-hmm.
a spiral notebook with in-depth details if you didn't want to wait around and listen to people talk, or if you didn't want to deal with people.
Uh-huh.
You were supposed to hand it back when you left.
Uh-huh.
I kept walking. I forgot.
That's your
So
excuse.
Maggie and I get
Yes,
because we had to get back to the
we
con,
had to for
like
the
things were
closing
going
ceremonies.
on, and
It was for
which we
closing
ended up not
ceremonies.
having anyway.
Yeah.
I know it's so good. So
Oh,
we end up in the Uber, and this guy is talking to me, trying to convince me to sell my photos to like something or other. I don't even remember. And I'm chatting back, and I look down at
I
my
think it was like
lap, and I
stock
see this,
photos.
yeah, stock images, and I
Okay,
see
it's a little
this
less weird.
like a spiral bound notebook, and I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to have this. Hey Maggie, we didn't get to go to the gift shop. Here you go.
And I was like, wow,
That
amazing.
was our
This is the
alleged
best
theft that
souvenir.
weekend.
Alleged. If we allegedly
Alleged.
had done this, allegedly.
I may
Mm-hmm.
not have even been in Seattle.
Oh yeah, I definitely did not see you there.
No, no, no.
No, we've never met. Um,
Bunniichii has never gone
so
to Seattle, allegedly.
No, there's definitely no record of it, no website, no social announcements.
No, 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 no,
nope.
no. I'm
Nope.
glad you understand.
That's all
Allegedly.
that's all AI. That's
Yeah,
all deep fakes.
yeah, for sure.
100%
100%.
generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Lulu, I think I've asked you this before, but it's been 2 years.
Yes.
So forgive me for
Yeah, no
wanting to
worries.
know again. You do cosplay nonsense. Would you like to
I
elaborate on
do.
how that started?
Okay, so it started with
Because this is
Yu-Gi-Oh!
my favorite thing to ask
Actually.
anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh is my origin story. So
I
two
love that
summers before I
movie.
started college, I was working at a sandwich shop over the summer, and one of my coworkers introduced me to Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. The next summer, I got really obsessed with it to the point where I went back and watched the original, and then I got into the fandom and discovered cosplay, and I was like, oh my god, this is what I was meant to do. Because like I always loved Halloween, but it never occurred to me to like make my own costumes for some reason. Like I would put things together for Halloween, but learning to sew was just not really like ever on my radar. And then I discovered it was a whole hobby, and I just like I knew that it was meant for me. And 16 years later, here I am.
16 years is quite a time.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's a
when was
16
this?
years as of this January.
Mazel.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. My cosplay career is old enough to drive, which is very weird.
Oh, you'll be sending it to college soon.
I know.
Oh.
When I hit 40, it'll be 20 years of cosplay, so it will literally have been half my life. So it's very weird to think about.
So I gotta, okay, like off the top of your head, do you have any like particular highs and lows
Mhm.
of these 16 years that make for
Um,
interesting
oh
stories?
my God, do I ever?
Yeah.
Many lows. I'm trying to think of how much I want to
Most
get
of my life
into.
is lows. It's okay.
We can
Um,
always, with a low, we can always start with you being in the OG Love Live group in the US.
that's not a low, that's a high.
I mean, I was gonna say starting with Yu-Gi-Oh's the low.
Oh, no, no. My lows I was thinking were a lot less funny, so I see what you
Oh,
guys are getting at.
We don't know any of your lows. All we have are memes.
Naruto,
Oh, I love Naruto. You shut your mouth.
caramel dancing. That could be a low. I mean, that's a
That's true. I
cultural
did start around that era.
zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Because I think we both started cosplaying around the same year. The
Yeah,
yaoi
2009 for
paddles.
me. Hmm.
Yaoi paddles. We
Yep.
were around for that. That is a low. What about you?
I never experienced a yaoi paddle, thankfully.
Oh no, am I the only
Um,
one?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I've seen
What does
them.
that
I've
tell you
seen
about
them,
yourself,
but
Maggie?
I don't want to be that introspective, honestly.
You know what? We'll
Um,
put a pin in that one.
yeah, never to revisit. Perfect.
I mean, like, if we're gonna go, I guess let's go like really macro. Like the best thing about cosplay for me is like how much it's transformed my life.
Mhm.
I literally wouldn't be the person I am without it. I met my husband through it. I developed my career through it. I grew as a person through it. All my friends I've met through cosplay, and so like that to me is the best part about it is how much it's given me. I just got back from Texas. I spent 5 days down there helping my friend for surgery, and it's just so cool that like, we just met doing our weird little dress up hobby, and then you just end up finding these people that you really connect with and end up meaning so much to you, and it's just if we didn't do this weird thing, we would have never met. Yeah, that's what I love about it. Through cons, I get all kinds of weird memories that I would never get anywhere else. For example, several years ago, before I ended up getting into the industry myself, I worked
Mhm.
the industry after party at Anime Expo. I was working the door, and it was a very stressful time because there were a lot of voice actors who pulled the "Don't you know who I am" thing on me, and I did know who they were, but they weren't on the list. So I like was really militant about not letting them in because I wanted to do a good job, but it was really weird and kind of like awkward. And at the end of the night, Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon, brought me pizza. And I'm like,
Oh,
literally, Usagi brought me pizza. I'm like, nowhere else would this type of thing happen.
amazing.
So I love how weird the memories are, but I wouldn't trade them for anything.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, that was
How
that
many
that
people
was a
can
high
say
and a
that
low that
too?
night. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Get the highs with the lows.
Yeah. The lows for me, again, let's go like super macro. I always say that like cosplay can help your self-esteem a lot. It can also give you insecurities you never thought you would ever have.
Yes.
It's just this like wide-eyed and nothing.
Yes.
Aggressively. I know you get it.
Never before in my life have I ever thought about getting a boob job before Instagram.
Yeah,
Never before in my life.
yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it can be really hard sometimes. It is a strange thing to have your body be the canvas on which you display your art, and again, that has its highs and its lows. I actually am still kind of coming out of like a weird like 5 or 6 years with cosplay. I hit some pretty bad lows, just like with my relationship with the hobby, especially during 2020 and during lockdown.
Mhm.
Um, I I have actually not finished a costume since February 2020. I've
Would you
worked on
define it as burnout?
I think it wasn't so much burnout as it was I needed to re-examine my relationship with the hobby.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
at that point, I'd been doing this for like 10 years. Things had really changed. The community had changed, my friends had changed. Um, and gosh, if we want to talk about a low, this is probably my lowest point as a cosplayer. Second lowest point. Um, was in 2020. I entered a little contest called Crunchyroll Hime's Cosplay Cup,
That's where I know you
which,
from.
yep. And if you're not familiar, it was a virtual contest where these skits were submitted as videos, and it was a wonderful experience. However, I entered that contest with one goal in mind, and I wanted to win Coordinator's Choice Award,
Yeah.
which meant that you got to come back the next year and be a judge. And at that point, I had only gotten to judge like really small like library contests, with like no prejudging and things like that. So I was like, this is my big break. In fact, that's my idea because I'm friends with the coordinator.
Mm.
So I was like, this is my award to win. I was like, so I was delusional that I was going to win it. And not only did
Would
I
you
lose
say
it,
you
I
were
lost it.
Delulu?
Oh,
Yes, yeah,
Lulu
literally,
was
I invented
Delulu.
Delulu. I invented Delulu in that moment. I'm proud to say that's the first time anyone's ever said that about me, at least that I'm aware of. So
Oh my gosh. Jules, how does it feel to be a first?
a pioneer.
A
It
pioneer.
feels horrible. I wish I could have said something nicer.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. And so not only did I lose that award, I lost it to my best friend. And
Ooh,
that is the hardest loss
that's
I've ever
emotionally rough.
that was the hardest L I've ever taken as a cosplayer, in the competitive sense. And I cried like I'd been dumped. I felt like I had been dumped for the next couple of days, and it sent me kind of on this spiral of like, there's nothing special about me. You're just another white girl who's good at sewing. And I'm proud to say that I've come out of that spiral. I had to figure out what I wanted to do with this hobby to set myself apart, but also to be a better contributor to it. And it took me a long time to get out of it, but I'm glad I did. But yeah, that was yeah, easily one of the lowest parts of my time as a cosplayer.
I
No,
could,
that has to be rough because you're
yeah.
upset that you lost and you lost in a very personal way, but also you have to be happy for your friend.
Dude, yeah, like
That's
I
rough.
I
Yeah.
I don't think I would get an Oscar for my performance after that award was announced because I certainly was not smiling. We were all on
Yeah.
camera because we
Oh
were all in
yeah,
like a big Zoom
it
meeting.
was really
So,
hard. Because I remember all of us had been there. Were we all like in all the competitors were all like in a Discord group prior, right? I
mhm,
think,
yeah,
yeah. And so
yeah,
everyone who was competing, you didn't have to be, but it was like pretty strongly suggested that you were like on camera, so we would
mhm,
all be on Zoom. I
yep,
remember getting because I did Princess Tutu, so I remember making in like 24 hours Ahidu's like school uniform.
mhm.
It's actually probably one of the best first few builds I've done. Julie, it was fully lined. You'd
Maggie,
be
you
so
aren't
proud of
well.
me. No, I'm not.
Maggie,
Listen,
you
it was
aren't well.
2020.
Diagnosed.
None of
I'm
us were well.
diagnosed not well. That's true.
You know what?
I
You're
was about
right.
to
That
add
was the
that.
year I got into cosplay. I wasn't well.
That's right. But no, yeah, it was so hard because even if you were hurt and you're still like, you can still be proud and happy for others. But also, if
Yeah,
something, I think, especially in 2020, because most people were having limited contact with others, that's where a lot of people were starting to not lose, but get a bit shaky on the hiding the true feelings because we were able
mhm,
to emote more
I
in
mean, also,
private.
if you're competing in real life,
Hmm.
no one sees it. Like you're in the
Yeah.
back, you're in the wings, you're in the green
mhm,
room,
Hmm.
and your name doesn't get called, and so no one sees your reaction.
mhm.
And it's also
Yeah,
not potentially being
Yeah.
filmed.
And this was
Yes.
being streamed on
Like recorded.
Twitch? Oh no, this
Uh,
was streamed on Twitch for Anime Expo? Was that it?
no, it was streamed on the Crunchyroll Expo website.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
still like
Yeah,
literally
losing
being
in person
broadcast
is way
worldwide.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I literally had to like keep my face from cracking for the
Mhm.
rest of the awards ceremony. And like the second it stopped, I just like could not stop crying. Like I texted her and I said, "Congratulations, you deserve it," because
Yeah.
she did.
It was a
But I
good
think both
skit. Yeah.
things can be true. It's like,
Mhm.
you deserved it, but I also feel like I deserved it. And, again, both things can be true. And yeah, a lot of like really complicated emotions. I'm proud of how I handled it. Because again, like I think anyone less mature might have struggled with it. Especially
Yeah.
if I'd been a younger cosplayer, I definitely would have had an even worse time with it. Probably wouldn't have been a good person about it. But yeah, it was a very hard lesson in that, in learning that you can be good, someone else can be just as good, but they might beat you out, and that's hard to accept sometimes.
So I ask if you would consider the slump that you've been in burnout because, like, real talk, hi, it's me. I'm
Hmm.
in that state, and I want to
Yeah.
get your take on what the hell my next steps probably
Yeah.
are. Like,
Yeah. I'm more than happy to talk about that.
because like I went
What?
really hard for like 5 years,
Hmm.
making 8 to 10 costumes a year,
You
Yep.
were
Yep.
insane, Julie.
all to a
Yeah.
the highest quality that I could,
Hmm.
like making as many commitments as I could, and then I don't know, like this year started and I already had low commitments. Like I wasn't doing
Hmm.
too much. Like Maggie can attest to this. I did not overload myself this year. But then we were working on a Sakizu piece to
Hmm.
bring to Costume Con, and
Hmm.
Costume Con Milwaukee got canceled due to lack of
Yeah.
funding. And I had been planning on making this piece regardless of the con, but like
Hmm.
my bolero is sitting right over there waiting for me to hand sew it. And it's been sitting there for weeks, and I can't bring
Hmm.
myself to go into my
My
sewing.
Yeah.
I
skirt
can't
is
bring
waiting
myself to
for a
work. I
waistband.
don't want to work on anything. I
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
demotivated. I'm burnt out. What's the point?
Yeah.
That's where I'm
So,
at, and I
It's
need
because
help.
you can't say that you're like you can say
I
that you're
need a
burnt out,
therapy
and then
session.
like you can also say like what's the point? But then people would be like, oh, you just want to do this for attention or to show off, and but then it's also just like we're
As an
not
artist,
making
you do things
yeah.
both for yourself and for others.
yes,
To say you
'Cause you
100%.
only do
create.
things for yourself is to not to fundamentally misunderstand what it is to be a creative, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like unless you're, oh God, who was the guy who wrote about turning into a fly?
Kafka.
Oh,
I
Franz
personally
Kafka? Yeah.
Yeah, Kafka didn't want any of his work published, and you know what? That's fair. But not all of us are Kafka.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but like I'm not really on Instagram anymore, and I'm not doing this for Instagram, but I want to do it with and for my friends, but I don't live in
Hmm.
Texas anymore.
Right.
Making local friends is like to make
A nightmare.
it's not that
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's the trust. It's a very emotionally vulnerable thing to do a group
Hmm.
costume. You have to
Hmm.
trust that the
Yes.
person's going to do
Yes.
it. You have to trust that they're going to show up when they say they're going to show up. Like, there's a lot there, and it's a lot of work. Anyway, I'm
Yes.
talking a lot. Lulu, help.
I have been through literally every single thing you've just mentioned, and so I will probably yap forever. But I think to
Please,
start
yeah.
off with,
Go.
the thing that really helped me reframing my relationship with the hobby, which also in turn helped with my relationship with social media as a creative. Um, so I this is probably going to sound bad, but after I lost Team Makeup, I basically spent a lot of time soul searching and figuring out like what was special about me, because when I started cosplay, like I just really believed that there was something in me that set me apart from other cosplayers, and I didn't know what it was. But I really believed that I could bring something different to this hobby. And then I lost Team Makeup, and like I said, I was like, "You're just another white girl who sews good, and we are the majority in this hobby."
Mhm.
So I spent a lot of time thinking, like, well, what do I do to make my brand and to make myself and to set myself apart? And I realized that I was very passionate about competing. I was also very tired of seeing crappy build book. So I was like, and there's so there's not a lot of resources out there to like discuss competition culture and like what to expect, especially if you're a newbie, to understand like what the standards are. There's nothing to teach, competitors about what it's like, what judges are looking for, what it's like to be a judge. Um, and that was like knowledge I had always craved, as is like to understand what it's like to judge so that I could be a better competitor. And then there's absolutely no content about build books and how to make them and how to make them effectively. So I certainly was never told. And so I kind of like found that as my niche, and in turn started making content about those things. And then that way, that allowed me to engage with the community without having to make costumes. So that was really the turning point for me, because like I love the community. I never wanted to be a part of from it. People would say to me like, take a break from making things. I'm like, I have taken breaks, not purposely, but I have been too burnt out and too sad to make things. And I want to not feel that. I want to find a way to be engaged with the community again. And that's what I ended up doing. And that really sustains me to this day, because, like I said, it's a way for me to stay in touch with the community, find a way to be relevant in a sense, and also, like, frankly, show my worth as a guest and as a judge. But also, most importantly, it's my way of engaging with the community and staying in touch with them. So I think, Magpie, you're like a really good example of this. I've been watching you kind of like, again, reframe yourself as a creative.
Oh,
You've been experimenting with things, and I think that's fucking cool. And so I would say, do some soul searching and figure out like what it is you want out of the hobby, and if there's a way you can engage with it without making costumes. That's the biggest thing I would say. Gosh, everything else I was going to say just went out of my head, but yeah, that was the biggest turning point for
you
me.
complimented me, so we
And
don't have to
I
go
get
forward from
that.
that.
I get that because I do feel that desire of like I want to talk to my people. I want to
Yes,
talk
exactly.
about passionate things. Like I want to talk about fabric and shows that we've been watching and stuff that inspires
Hmm.
us. But maybe it's just the niche I have found myself in, but it feels like first of all, I can't get back on Instagram. I am too
Hmm.
type A for it. It feels
Hmm.
like a rat race, and if I'm not doing
Yeah.
everything to the like, if you look at my account, it's not a
Hmm.
hobby account. It is a professional account.
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't start as a hobbyist and become a professional. I treated it like
Hmm.
a job from day one
Hmm.
because I am a
And that was your
fundamentally
mistake.
broken and unwell person. It's
Yeah.
I do every hobby I'm in. Like, I treat my fanfic like I'm an actual author. I treated
Hmm.
video making like I was making documentaries. I treat everything to the highest degree because I
Yep.
am broken, and I know this about
Yes.
myself. But
Yeah.
it feels it's so the rat race side of things, right? Um, but it feels a lot of times like maybe just the group I've fallen into that people only want to talk to me if we're going to go to the same con.
Mm.
So that's not great.
No. Yeah, absolutely. Those people are not your friends, first of all.
They're not friends, and I need to
Yeah,
emotionally
yeah,
understand that.
yes, yeah, that's a big part of it. So for the listeners who aren't aware, I am a professional social media manager. I've been working in video games, specifically doing social media for the past 6 years. And
Luluko is so
so I
cool,
know,
everyone. So
oh,
cool.
thank you.
Lulu, you are so cool.
Thank you. Thank
Unironically,
To
you.
be
you're one of the
fair,
cool
Thank you.
like, the reason I don't message you on Discord is I'm scared of you.
Oh my God,
I'm
why?
so intimidated because you're so fucking cool.
No, I'm just old and weird.
see, for me,
Please
I
message
was
me
even like, because
anytime.
like I think I told you this at Northwest Idol Fest, because I had followed you on social media prior even to like He Makeup, and I was like, whoa,
Mhm.
I want
Oh my God, you
that was
guys.
so
Thank you.
cool, so
Thank
Unironically,
you.
like,
cool.
getting to know you at the con, I'm like,
It
"She's
was
too
great.
cool for me."
Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
God,
yeah, yeah.
thank you.
No,
I really
I
appreciate
think
that.
like that whole weekend, I was just like, oh my god, everyone is like,
Me and Maggie in the corner just like,
they say don't meet your
Thank you.
heroes, but
"Lulu's
also
hanging out
like,
with us?"
oh my god, oh my god, Lulu, we're spending time with Lulu, and they showed
Oh my
us
God.
mac and cheese, and we're talking about wrestling. Wow,
Oh my God. Thank you.
what a weekend!
But yes, that was
The
such a fun.
weekend.
That was such a good way to say bye to Seattle. But Yeah, I this is one of the things I actually kind of recently made a post about this. It's on my Instagram.
Thank you.
But
For those of us who aren't chronically online, what does it say?
so I was talking about, with TikTok potentially going away and then coming back, whatever, and then like Blue Sky happening, like social media is in like a huge state of turmoil like I've never seen in my years as a professional. And I've seen a lot of people going like, "Oh, should I jump to Blue Sky? Should I delete TikTok? Like, what should I be doing?" And I see a lot of cosplayers burn themselves out very, very fast, trying to be trying to win on social media, basically. Because the algorithm is voracious. It requires a lot of care and feeding, and that's not fucking sustainable if you're a hobbyist.
Especially if you're sewing. If you're sewing
Yes,
all of your
yes,
costumes, you
yes,
cannot keep
yes.
up. You
Especially
can't.
if you are working a full-time job, and like
If
cosplay is
you're
your
an
hobby,
adult,
you
And you
if you're
can't.
an
have an
adult
adult
with
Yes, if you're
life
an
bills,
to
adult, if
do.
you're neurodivergent, like you can't do it
Like,
all.
no,
you have,
you
oh, one
can't.
second.
So yeah, like I see so many people like treating their
Mhm.
Instagram account like a second job, and again, that is a huge fucking mistake. It's so funny because I actually, for the second time ever, the only two cold emails I've gotten as a cosplayer have been from those companies that are like, "We can help you with your social media presence," and I'm just every time I'm like, I know what to do. I probably know more than you. I just choose
Mhm.
not to do it. Partially because it's my day job and I don't like crossing over with my personal life too much,
Right.
but it's also because I don't want Instagram to be this huge albatross around my neck. I
Mhm.
post when I want to, I post what I want to. I do enjoy making content and helpful tutorials and things like that, but I don't ever like I've like tried to make content calendars and like I have a whole backlog of ideas of things I want to
Mhm.
do, but you know, trying to like make sure that I'm pumping out content constantly is a one-way ticket to misery. So,
You know what my
um,
dream is?
The dream.
tell me your
Not to
dream.
cut you off, but my because you were talking about how you
You had a
you look
dream.
scared.
Tell
You've
us
heard me
about
talk
your
about this
dream.
dream before. You're gonna know what it is as soon as I
I
fucking
know
get to
your
the point.
dream. Keep it going.
Um, you talked about adding to the community in a way that you have knowledge, right? That you have an
Hmm.
expertise in. And that a good portion of the fun of cosplay isn't just making the stuff and going to a con.
Hmm.
It's interacting and communicating with other
Yes,
people who
yes.
are passionate like you are, being part of it, right? My dream, and I've had this in my head for about 4 years now. I fundamentally believe the internet peaked with forums.
Yes, I
Yes.
remember this dream.
Yes. When the
I
internet was not just three websites, that was the best internet.
My dream, because I'm a software engineer. I've been a professional software developer for 9 years now. Um, my dream, I would love to make a forum for cosplay hobbyists. Not cosplay.com. That's dead. The
Yeah.
UI is garbage. It is
Hmm.
tainted. It needs to just have the final nail put in the coffin. I would love to make like, oh, what do you call it? The sewing pattern review.com. I would love to
Hmm.
make that for cosplay because at that point you can communicate and get in the community without having to make
Yes.
and post. Like I don't
Hmm.
want to have to post a picture of myself every single time I want to reach out and say, "Hi
Yes.
guys, who wants to chat right now?" Like
Hmm.
I want to just be able to hop into I want Gaia online.
Yeah.
I want to be able to
Honestly,
hop in to cosplay Gaia online
I
and
just want MySpace.
fucking join a chat.
yeah. I mean, honestly,
That's
with
my
the way
dream.
social media is right now, there's probably no better time to try and do something like that because we're all, you know, kind of just clinging to what we have left, hoping that Blue Sky is going to be kind of our life raft and that
See,
it's
the
not going to
truth though
go.
is over these past 5 years, I have watched companies try to make alternates, cosplay specific
Hmm.
alternates, right? Like,
Yeah.
there was Original Glaze that came up, and I actually worked with them for a bit before I realized that their code base was too bad to save. I think the cosplay company that sells tails that also started to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
a
yeah.
the Cosplanner one started to try and do it, but it was way too much like Instagram. Like I've seen cosplay related things come up, and either one of two things is happening. One, they're just repurposing Instagram.
Yeah.
And people who are posting on Instagram for likes don't want to be put in a smaller pond because that
Yeah.
is less likes. And also they don't care about liking
Yes.
other people's contents. They just want likes
Hmm.
themselves.
Mhm.
Or then sometimes I wonder the second thing of is the user base large enough to sustain
Hmm.
something that is specifically for cosplayers and photographers? Because I
Hmm.
don't know if it is. Am I so like cooked, right? Am I so in the Kool-Aid that I think that this
Hmm.
hobby is so much bigger than it is? And I
I
think about
mean,
that a lot. That's the
yeah,
only thing
no,
stopping me from trying because like I'm a full stack engineer. I can do this.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I think this is probably the time to try because again, everybody's just kind of looking for the sort of life raft that's going to keep them afloat on social media and keep them connected with their communities. And it's like it's so funny because like we all crave a smaller internet, but it's so hard to allow ourselves to do it.
I love
But yeah,
forums. I miss
I
Gaia.
I'm like
I miss
genuinely
it. Yeah.
waiting for things to like swing the complete way back around where forums come back and we just return to like
That's been
IQC
my
and
prediction.
yeah, everything is
Everything
cyclical.
goes back to
Everything is.
crab.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything goes back to crab.
exactly. Exactly.
I want to keep YouTube though. I do love my little video
Oh yeah.
essays.
Yeah.
Also, where else
I don't even
are
watch
people going to
TV.
listen
I
to the
just watch
Bunniichii
YouTube.
Corner?
Oh,
I
It's not on
have
streaming.
swayed so much in my YouTube consumption because I am now back to watching people just sitting on the floor of their living room doing a 2 hour long talk off the top of their head about the
love those.
relationship between Corey and Topanga on Boy Meets World. Like I
Dude,
am back to the OG
I
baby, and
I
it's
wish
good.
I wish YouTube would let you search by video length because I will pass up a good looking video if it's only 20 minutes. I'm like, no,
Oh
this
yeah.
needs to be a 3 hour video essay. I have laundry to do. Let's fucking go.
I want my long
The
form
old like
content, baby.
as I've
Yeah.
told Maggie, I'm back into Sims 3 hell. Um, because that's what I do when the world is scary and you're a queer Jewish woman. So I
Really
have
hone it in.
there's this sim YouTuber like Lazy Game Reviews. He does more than Sims, but he has a catalog, like a backlog of like every expansion pack review going back 15 years. And all the videos are like 10 minutes long, but I'm like, let's fucking go.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch all of these back
Yeah.
to
Just
back.
put that list on. Yeah.
Let's go. I'll clean the house. But I like seeing people not I like my YouTube to not be television.
Mm,
I don't want it
You
to
want it to be
yeah.
be a
genuine. You don't want it
$50,000. Yeah.
to.
Yep.
You don't want
Yep.
this overproduction. You want what YouTube was and always was supposed to
I
be.
want to be parasocial with people, damn it.
Yes. But you want to choose how. You don't want to go to everyone's
Let me
specific
pretend like I know these
websites.
people.
You don't want to go to their specific websites. You want to go to their channel. You want to subscribe to them. You know them. You follow them.
I will ring that bell.
Yeah.
No, Lulu, I as a social media person, just what's your take on like what Instagram has become? I'm
Yeah, give
so
us your
curious
hot
because I'm so
takes.
fucking done with Instagram. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm
the
still
worst
there.
part, hear me out real fast. It feels
Yeah.
like every post I see, people are typing in a language where it sounds like they're already S tier influencers when they're not
Mm,
even F tier influencers because they're doing the thing
yeah.
where you like pretend to have the thing before you have it. So
Hmm.
everything feels so fucking artificial.
Yeah. Yeah. You're totally
So what's
right.
up?
Yeah, so kind of going back to what you were saying about YouTube, the thing that it's so funny because the things that do best on social media are the things that are genuine, the things
Yeah.
that aren't that aren't super manufactured, that aren't
Maggie
super
did an
polished.
experiment on that on accident.
Oh no, it was totally on purpose, Julie. How dare you say that was on accident? I'm still
Shut
intermittently
up, it was
doing this.
genuine.
I am still
So
intermittently running this experiment, okay? Don't you dare breach my data pool. I am taking solid data evidence.
Sorry, Lulu,
so
please
it's
continue.
okay. So at my last job, I had to make a TikTok announcing a product, and it was my first time I think making one for that account, and since it was kind of new territory, I worked with like our design team to put it together. I didn't get to film the footage, but I kind of like storyboarded it and told them what I wanted. And then I like walked the design team through the edits and stuff. And we actually had a call with our TikTok rep later, and he was fucking great. He would tell us like he was like, "Here's your top three performing TikToks and why they did so well, and here's the bottom three and why I think they didn't do so well." It was basically like having someone explain the algorithm to you, or like the closest thing to it. Fucking great. I learned so much from it. But this particular TikTok, he basically told us it was too polished. And I was like, I can't believe I have to go back to these professionals and tell them you need to do a worse job. And that's that's kind of the secret to social media, is that like actually being shitty is kind of better, not shitty as a person, but like, not putting out the best thing ever all the time is actually what is going to do better. And
I think
I, as a marketer, the best performing posts I've ever had promoting things are the ones where I got weird or memey with it, or wasn't promoting a product really at all. So yeah, it is sad to see all these people who really are not influencers speaking the language and trying so hard to be influencers, when the way you get there is by being a real human person.
so. It was funny back when I was really active on Instagram. I ran multiple polls over the few years I was there, asking what kind of content people wanted to see. And
Hmm.
people always said that they wanted to see work in progress photos.
Hmm.
But you know what photos always did the best? My professional shoots. But I
Hmm.
think part of the trick might have been I can't bring myself to speak like an influencer. So I
Hmm.
just popped off on the captions every fucking time of whatever the hell was on my mind
Hmm.
that day. I'm just not going to win. So it was just funny though, people, because as a software developer, one thing you quickly learn is that your end user doesn't actually know what they want.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They
I
will
don't know what
ask
I
for
want?
things, and if you give them that thing, they are unhappy. And if they
Hmm.
ask for something and you give them something else, they're happy about it. I have learned this over my many
Hmm.
years of doing this job.
Yeah.
We
Gamers
are
are the same way. If
toddlers.
you have a yes, if
Yep.
you have a gamer and you give them exactly what they want, they're going to be
I don't want
pissed.
Yes.
So every time I try to give people on
Oh
Instagram
boy, do I
like
know it.
every time I try to give them what they voted for, they were like, "Nah." I'm like,
No thanks.
"Girl, you follow this for sewing."
Yeah. Yeah, and
No,
like
gamers
that's what I'm
can't be
saying is like,
trusted.
no, absolutely not.
No.
But yeah, that's why like I think it's funny when people ask that, because I'm like, I don't know if like anybody's actually going to watch that. I've actually done a similar poll in the past, but I was like, what of these topics do you want to see next? I'm working on something about build books, I'm working on something about social media, and I'm working about something on competitions. Which one of these do you want to see next? I may or may not actually finish it next, but I'm interested to know what you're interested in. And so, again, that goes back to me not necessarily posting things to appease the algorithm or to, you know, appeal to the widest possible audience. I just, like I said, I'm in my weird little niche. But I've found success in it because it is a niche that not a lot of people are talking in. Um, but also I just aggressively cannot care too much about, like you were saying, Jules, the rat race of it all.
Yeah, how do you
And
stop caring about the rat race?
uh it's hard. It's hard because,
I
I
feel
love
like you're type
judging.
A.
Not I'm like maybe like A minus.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Maybe a
You're in the
B.
A family.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's a type A? What's a
Um,
type B?
A type A is like hyper neurotic. A type B
Oh,
is a lot
okay.
more lax and go with the flow. Maggie, you're type B.
Okay, thank you. That's really what I needed to know. I needed to
yeah,
know
yeah.
where
But
I
a
I'm
lot
like
fit
of
on
I'm
type
like
this.
an
A's and
A
a lot of
minus.
type B's become best friends.
Yes, I actually I do a panel about stepping up your cosplay performances, and one of the slides is about like choosing a partner or choosing a group to be with, and I have this theory that the best partners are, you have one person with ADHD and one person with depression, so you have type A and type B. I'm convinced that it
Maggie!
Julie,
works
it
every time. It works
does!
every time.
It
Maggie!
does! We are your prime example.
Um,
That's another
You're
thing I'm
right.
really disappointed about that con getting canceled because we were gonna do a skit
Oh, it's
Oh
gonna be
man.
so good.
It would have
But
been
hear
our
me out,
first skit
Julie.
together.
Aw.
Julie, NDK.
Yeah.
Maybe.
NDK, hear me out. For our
I'm still kind of
friendiversary,
sad.
I'm still kind
Yeah,
of
that's
sad
fair.
too.
Let me work
But
through the sad.
Yeah.
I got
Um
inspiration, so I'll keep it on the burner.
Okay.
yeah, I think was as far as like the rat race goes, I think a lot of it is the fact that I'm 34. You know, I have the age and the wisdom and the experience to know that like when I was in my early 20s and I was a baby cosplayer, I was definitely more in that rat race mentality. And this was also kind of I started going to cons when Jessica Negri was still local because I'm from Arizona. She's from Arizona. I saw her
Mm-hmm.
at a local con like once or twice. So that's how far back I go. So cosplay fame was still a very, very new thing. And
Before Heroes
I,
of Cosplay,
yes,
before
yeah.
it all.
And also during Heroes of Cosplay, I
Oh,
was
that was a
there.
weird
I was there.
time. That was a weird
It
time,
sure
man.
was. Um, but you know, like I didn't necessarily have dreams of being a famous cosplayer, but I wanted to be well known enough that I got invited to be a guest and a judge and things like that. And I tried really fucking hard and was it never really got anywhere.
Yeah.
And so with that in my rearview mirror, basically, I can see where I kind of went wrong. I can see how much it kind of took over my brain and how obsessed I was with it. And I can see that that was not healthy for me.
Mhm.
So part of it is just having to kind of live through it and see and recognize that it's not good for you and choose to kind of like move on from being that person.
You
I
know,
think it is also, like I said, finding other things in the community that you can put your energy towards.
Mhm.
So I still, again,
time to
I
make the
fucking love,
forms. Woo!
yeah, like exactly. Like I fucking love judging. I would, again, still would love to be, you know, a guest all over the world. It
Mhm.
is my goal. Like one of my dreams is to one day judge an international contest and things like that.
That'd be so
Um,
cool.
yeah,
That'd be
like
so cool.
I still dream of those things, but I'm
Yeah.
not like,
You're not hell bent
I
on
don't
it. It's
know.
not like ultimate
Uh,
like make or
y-
break.
yeah, like I'm, really proud and honored of the opportunities I've
Mhm.
gotten. I'm happy with like who I am as a person and especially who I am as a member of the community. So I think that's kind of the other part of it is self-esteem.
Mhm.
I had really bad self-esteem until like maybe 5 years ago. When it started to like the tide on that kind of started to change. And because I was like so insecure as a cosplayer in my earlier days, I think that was why I chased validation so much.
Mhm.
And that validation I wanted in the form of like, again, being asked to judge, being asked to be a guest, things like that. Doing podcasts actually. And I
Oh
got
yeah.
asked to do exactly one and the guy was super weird about it. So it never happened. So 16
Never
years
trust
later,
men doing
Yeah. No. No.
podcasts.
I
No.
mean, yeah, this is
Never
before like
trust
the
men with
men
info.
doing podcasts epidemic.
Wasn't
So
very. Yeah.
lesson learned. But yeah, I craved external validation so bad. And like I still do. Like, I'm a creative person, I'm a normal human
Yeah.
being. Like, yes, I want the likes, I want the engagement, I want
Mhm.
your costume is so fucking cool. But I'm also able to like myself without those things. And therefore I don't need to constantly be chasing the next thing. Am I still like I don't have any judging gigs this year. Like, can somebody fucking email me,
Yeah.
please? Like, that's in the back of my mind still. But I'm also like, I'm able to recognize, like, oh, like, I actually have like several potential offers lined up for next year. So 2026,
Nice.
potentially
Yeah.
incredibly lit for me. So I'm like,
Okay.
I know that, like, I know that I am good enough to be like looked at for these opportunities. And like,
Mhm.
that does help with the external validation. And I'm also mature enough to know that, like, you know, you might be qualified for the job, but you might not be the best fit in that moment.
Mhm.
So I am able to recognize that it's not personal. um so yeah, it's a combination of experience and just learning to like yourself, and relying less on external validation.
Are you ready for ADHD brain?
I'm married to a
I've
man with
been here.
ADHD, so go for it.
Sorry, my brain
Go.
just wrapped back around to one of the very first things Maggie said on this
Eh?
episode.
What?
What was
What
that
did I
about
say?
being in one of the first idol groups?
Oh, hey, I wanted to say that.
Yeah,
No, I want to take it back. Take it back. Take it back. I want to say it first. I want to say it
Hold?
first. This is
Okay, I'm sorry, Maggie, you
oh,
had
okay.
something to say?
Yeah, I did. Thanks for giving me space to do that. I
Yeah,
really
of
feel listened
course.
to and heard in this. Like my feelings are really valid. Seeing as how
Of
last
course
week
they
on
are
Bunniichii
here.
Corner, if you were alive and knew what was going on, Jules,
Eh? I was in
we talked.
Elysium. I had stuff to do.
Well, get internet in Elysium, okay? Like last week we talked to MS Paint Palette. We as in me, on my own. And we talked about mac
I'm
and
so proud
cheese
of you,
and
babe.
Love Live and idols. So, Luluko, since we
Your
were
three
all at
favorite things.
since we were at Northwest Idol Fest at one point, that means you obviously like idols to some extent.
I do. I do.
Have you ever heard of the anime Love
Maggie, this is
Live?
an amazing segue.
So, as it happens, I was part of the first ever full American Love Live group. And
Good.
actually, I don't know if this was the year you guys were there or the year before, but I opened one of my panels with that factoid,
It
and
was. I made sure we were there.
somebody in the audience went, "How do you know?" And it was so fucking funny, but it was also like, okay, so when we did this group, this is like ALA, it was 2014. It's been over a decade now, which is horrifying to think about. But the only people who recognized us were the three other people cosplaying Love Live. This is also before School Idol Festival came out, so I know we were the first. We were absolutely the first. Um, yeah, so I'd
Yeah.
gotten into Idolmaster, like a year or two before that, and through that discovered this lovely group called Angel Hearts. They
Yes.
did idol performances, typically dressed up as Idolmaster girls, and I thought they were so fucking cool. And then when their leader, Sparkle Pipsy, asked me to be in an idol group with her, I hadn't even watched Love Live yet. I didn't even know who was going to be my favorite. She was like, "Hey, do you want to be Hanayo in my Love Live group?" I was just like, "Yes." I don't
Yeah.
even know what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll like her. I don't know if I'll like
The
the
idol
series,
dream.
but
You just go. You just say
yeah, I was like,
yes. You just say
yeah,
yes.
exactly. Like, if we're talking about like validating moments, like that was a really validating moment to like
Me?
have somebody that I looked, yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
someone that I looked up to was like handpicked me for this group, handpicked me to be this character. And yes, Hanayo did end up being my favorite, so it worked out really
Mm,
well.
good.
But yeah, like, and there's it's as Jules was saying earlier, putting groups together is immensely difficult. Putting together a group of 9 girls is so hard, but
Impossible.
Girl, I could
yeah,
barely get 5 together. What the
You
yeah,
fuck?
tried.
yeah.
You
I
tried
I
at
feel
home,
like
that
that's why
Jules.
I
You
I
tried.
feel like that's why the Love Live units get smaller and smaller with each iteration, is because they're like, they need to have cosplay groups, so we gotta make it easier on them. Um, but
Shout out to the new one.
yeah, but that
Just
was like,
one.
again, that was a validating experience because that signaled to me like, not only does Sparkle Pipsy like me as a person, she thinks
Mm-hmm.
I'm good enough to sew this costume, I'm good enough to stand next to her, and she trusts me to be a responsible human being and show up and make the costume and be a good
Yeah.
person and gel with the rest of the group.
I trust
um
exactly one person in this world to do that, and
yeah,
she's on this podcast.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
What?
Oh, of
All
course.
right. All right. You know what? No one's allowed on the Bunniichii Corner anymore. No more Bunniichii.
uh
That's it. It's
Well,
over
what
in
a
the
good run, everybody.
birds.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Ah!
Use code Bunniichii for Squarespace. And yeah.
Thank you, Squarespace.
I'm dying.
Thanks, Squarespace.
Lulu, you're
Oh
not
yeah.
allowed to be funnier than us on our own podcast.
Oh, sorry. I thought that's why I was
That's in
here.
the contract.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't read it.
Wait, talking about the contract was part of the NDA. You guys, wait.
Oh shit.
Oh
Shit.
no, and we broke it all. Well, I
NDA?
We
I
did
guess
it
thought it
out
said
of order. No.
NDK. I can't read.
it's all out the window now. I don't know what I thought. I guess I gotta get weird with
Game
it. All
over.
right, hang on. Game over.
Um
Anyway, so you hung out with Sparkle Pipsy?
yeah, and yeah,
That's dope.
it's really cool to look back and like know that I was a part of like idol cosplay history. Um, it's a weird and niche specific thing to do, but
Yeah.
considering like how huge Love Live got just a year later,
Yeah.
We did another group the next year. We didn't have everybody, but we did
Mm.
do another group, and they were everywhere that year. And so, um, yeah, it was just really cool to be ahead of the curve on something for once.
Yeah.
Do you think
But
idol
most,
cosplay
Because you were
groups are
there.
dying?
oh my God, I this is a whole other topic.
I'm sorry, it just
So
came to me.
Welcome to the
it
Rant Podcast. We just
man,
talk about what we
so
want.
idol cosplay culture is very interesting, and I talked about this with
Yes.
Abby a lot, who is
Hmm.
the cosplay coordinator for Northwest Idol Fest, and I talked to her about this a lot because, you know, I was also one of the judges for the first ever cosplay contest at Northwest Idol Fest, and we had a lot of discussions around like whether or not a contest kind of made sense for that
Hmm.
community. And it's so interesting because Love Live was really, I think, the turning point where I think that was really kind of the start of where bot cosplay started to become more of a thing, even like predating Genshin.
Hmm.
But that was also the time where idol cosplayers, not everybody obviously, but as a the community became larger, but it also became less sewing focused.
What is?
Whereas
What do
like
you mean?
y-
You mean we have to do more than just singing and dancing, and we sew, and we have to say,
Maggie, they don't even sing. Stop.
"What? Idol cosplayers don't
anyway,
sing?"
some of them do.
Oh.
You were in
Anyway,
Blossom Project. You know the truth.
so yeah, it's an interesting like the groups exploded because not only was Love Live popular, but the costumes were more accessible than trying to make them. And then I think it's definitely petered off a bit, but I think what's kind of taken its place is the Kai Guy idol community. It's like every con, not every con, but so many cons have idol fest now and places for people to perform,
Mhm.
and they're doing their own thing, which I think is a great kind of evolution of that scene.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting to see kind of like the evolution of like there's like five idol cosplayers, they all make their own costumes and they're all fucking incredible at it, to now nobody makes costumes in the idol community, and then kind of back to, well, now they've evolved so much that they've actually become idols themselves. So
Mhm.
it's definitely an interesting evolution to have witnessed.
I agree. It's a very I think it's going to be interesting to see how it continues to evolve
Hmm.
because the the issue with Love Live and a lot of like idol anime is that it becomes so formulaic that it's almost a carbon copy
Hmm.
of each other. You
Yeah.
might have like, well, we're gonna take the same different types of girls or the boys, and we're gonna
Hmm.
add
Yeah.
a little pinch of something else, make them slightly different.
Yes.
But
And
we
now
Yeah.
they're
do know our
furries.
target. Now you're hey, hey, take Uma Musume out of your mouth with that. I did not mean to
No.
be part of this. And then
No.
somehow Chris got me a figure and friends almost bought me figures in Japan because they saw the whole set of them. I don't need this to follow me anymore. Anyways, that's neither
Secret
here nor
furry.
there. Take that out of your mouth.
Public furry. Um No, I would agree with the concept that yes, Matt, are you still Matt? Okay. Um that the accessibility of costumes with the idol community has made it what it is. My first foray into idol nonsense, I've talked about this before, but probably not with you, Lulu, and you're the only thing that matters in this podcast. I got invited to join this thing called Blossom Project, and I was naive because I got
Mm.
into cosplay to sew. I love
Hmm.
sewing. I want to be the Julia Child of cosplay because I believe everyone can make beautiful things. And I thought we were going to make our own costumes.
Mm.
Wrong. Our very first Discord discussions were sharing AliExpress links on which one we could all buy because if we all bought them from the same place, they would all match. And
Yep.
I, notorious hater of fast fashion, I'm sitting here cringing my teeth out of my mouth, going, "What have I done?" It's okay. Blossom Project fell apart very quickly.
It's true. I
But
was
like,
Julie
it was the
Standon.
first time I was introduced to the idea of buying cosplay, not just like
Hmm.
on and off, but like they were going to buy 6 or 7 costumes.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, For what? For what reason? What
Yeah.
purpose is there? To wear them once?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, and so that's like one of the cool things about being in those groups of Sparkle Pipsy is that like she and Nessa, I think at the time, would go to the LA Fashion District and buy all the fabric there, and then they would like send us these like wonderful boxes full of supplies, and so we would all match, and like it was just kind of like, you know, I missed out on like the getting to choose materials experience, which was,
Mhm.
always a bummer because that's the reason
It's
anyone
so
cosplays, I
fun.
think, is to buy
Yeah.
supplies.
All that textiles.
But
I
Yeah.
like buying shiny
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. So to get a box of shiny stuff, is really
It's
fun.
like a subscription box.
Yeah, it's literally like, here, I handpicked this cosplay for you. All you
It's
have
a
to do now is make
curated.
it.
It's a curated
Yeah, exactly.
No,
subscription
Yeah,
box.
literally.
there is an opportunity in there somewhere. Curated
Yeah,
cosplay
honestly.
boxes.
I could
Provide your own
rule
sewing
the
machine.
cosplay world. I could rule what's the next trend, and we could all be a part of it and ahead of it. We could be the it kids before it's cool.
Anyone listening to
And
this, do not steal. We've already got the LOC going. By the
original
time you hear this,
OC,
we're
do
on it.
not
Oh,
steal.
Yep.
see, that's right. We'll come for you. It's too
No, but
early for me to be
that
this
to me,
aggressive.
you lived the dream I wanted.
Mm.
And I'm very jealous.
I mean, it was a 1 day thing, you know what I mean? I mean, the camaraderie ahead of it was great, but yeah, like I said, I've never been a part of a group that big ever again because it is so difficult to put together. But yeah, I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate, and it's
Mhm.
definitely, one of my best memories in the 16 years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Have you done any other groups that have stood out to you in any way in your cosplay career?
Most of them have just kind of happened by accident. It's usually like Fire Emblem has been responsible for a lot of them just because like
Wait, which one?
I got into it through Awakening, so that was like kind of my first era, and then Fates came out,
Let's go.
and God, oh, this is a cursed memory that just came to me.
My
There was
favorite.
one Katsucon where it was kind of like a gathering,
Mhm.
really, but it was meant to be like a photo shoot of the entire cast of Fates. So all of
Yeah.
the Norians and all of the Hoshidans. And now I am from the West Coast and always have been. The photo shoot was, I think, at 9 in the morning.
Oh no. I see where this is going.
I
Oh
do
no.
not recommend
Oh
getting
no.
up at
Oh
7 a.m. to get into Fire Emblem, especially when it's 4 a.m. your time. I was like, literally never
yes.
again will I get up this early to put on Fire Emblem.
Uh,
And the photo
Look
shoot was
at
not.
Maggie for our Mermaid Melody cosplay in Georgia.
What do you mean? I'm great. I'm
No,
perfect.
looks at the fact that I had to get up at like 6 a.m. to start getting into costume.
I'm perfect. I stand by what I said. I'm great. I'm not the
Kill
problem.
me. Anyway,
um,
no,
but yeah, I
early
actually
morning
have been.
shoots illegal.
Yes, unless it's like at a really, really fucking cool location and you get to go back to your hotel
So
afterwards.
wait, so
Well, hear me out.
there's
No
like a
sleep.
little diagram. So like the cooler the
Yes,
location is, the earlier
yes,
it can
the earlier
be.
you can get up. Yes, yes, 100%. Katsucon, as beautiful as the Gaylord is, Katsucon is not one of those.
You mean
But I
the
actually
gazebo is not worth having zero sleep and fighting the weebs?
You
absolutely
mean I
fucking not.
shouldn't go to the gazebo?
The
I
gazebo.
mean, you should. I have like one like solo gazebo photo, and it was taken at like 10 at night. I was like, I got one. Go check that
That's
off the
Uh,
list.
it. We
I
still
do
need to
actually have
Photoshop ourselves in
another.
front of that.
Speaking of Katsu, oh yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Speaking of Katsu, I've asked Maggie about this before, but since
Me.
you have also, I'm new to this hobby in the grand scheme of things. I started
Hmm.
in like 2019, 2020, and then the pandemic
Right.
happened, as we all know. I don't have the history to know how cons have changed, and I've asked Maggie how she
Mm.
thought
And
cons
I
have
was gonna
changed.
ask
Lulu,
Lulu the
how do
same
you
question you're
think
gonna ask. Yeah.
cons have changed?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. Obviously, they've gotten a lot bigger. I think the biggest change is that it's become more of an industry.
Mhm.
Like AX has always existed. It's been around for a very long time. I only started going in like 2012, so I have a lot of friends who remember it being in Anaheim, in Long Beach. I was never there for
Yeah.
those years. So AX to me has always been like the industry juggernaut, but that used to be kind of like the only con that um the industry really took seriously as like kind of like the E3 of anime in a sense. Um and
Which is
now
funny because now E3's dead.
Yeah,
Can't
but
make that
at the
comparison
time,
anymore.
yeah, but like that's like kind of what it was at the time. It's like, back, I mean, even back then there weren't really video game conventions. You just kind of had E3 and like PAX was starting out and that was kind of it.
Mhm.
Now it's not just, and like when I say the industry back in like 2012, I mean the literal industry of like publishers like Viz Media. I think Crunchyroll hadn't quite popped off yet back then. But the people
Tokyo
who are
Pop was
actually like
still there, I think.
yeah, like
Yeah.
creating and licensing anime and
Mhm.
manga and like putting out like the actual goods. Now there's all these kind of other companies that have popped up, as a like a result of convention culture, as a result of conventions getting bigger. And I personally like, not to sound like a corporate shill because I do work in marketing, but I'm also aggressively anti-capitalist, but I'm also
Yeah.
aggressively people making money off their art. And that's
Yeah.
what I've seen a lot of people doing, is
Mm.
being able to make a living off of their art, because of how conventions have grown. And I'm not just talking like artist alley
Mhm.
artists. I'm talking about like brands like Mrage, who makes these incredible fucking like cyberpunk jackets and collabs with like actual companies like Shoujo and Arc
Yeah.
System Works to make these amazing, like super cool jackets that are official, that you would have never seen anywhere else,
Oh
back in the
shit, they're
day.
they're super
Um,
cool.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like it's so cool to see companies like that popping up where conventions are their bread and butter. And they show up at your neighborhood convention. Um, so I personally think that that is very cool. I know that there's a lot of people who have a lot of mixed feelings or negative feelings about cons becoming more of a not the cons themselves, but like, vending at cons being more of a viable money making venture. But it's it's almost always people making money off of art, and I think that that's fucking cool.
Do you think it's a different atmosphere? Like, taking into account that people, like, it's really cool that people are able to make a living off of their art
Hmm.
and being able to fulfill like creative
Yeah.
ventures. And now we have a lot of things that previously we weren't that accessible.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I
I think going
like
back
going along with the corporate and like capitalism aspect, but just the atmosphere at cons, at least to me, has changed. I remember going to smaller cons,
totally.
like because when I started going to cons and cosplaying was probably about the same time as you did. I think like 2008, 2009.
Hmm.
Um, and they were so small, but everyone was so
Yep.
welcoming and so
Yeah.
open. Like you could freely go up to people and just start conversations, or people would go up to you and not in a weird way, just like it's a house
Yeah.
party type
Hmm.
vibe, and you're like, oh hey,
Yes.
do you
100%.
like
Like,
this? You like the show to me too? We
yeah,
should be friends.
that's why I loved, well, it's moving to SoCal now, thank God. But that's
Yeah.
why I loved Northwest Idol Fest so much,
Hmm.
because literally the older I get, the smaller the con I want to go to.
Yeah.
Like Idol Fest was the best. It was in a
Hmm.
hotel. There was like 1,000 people there, and we all
Yeah.
liked exactly the same kind of niche. Like
Perfect.
I
Hmm.
loved that so much.
Hmm.
Um,
The Venn
and
diagram was a circle.
exactly, and that was
Also, we
especially
had a
like,
lot of weddings that we wanted to crash, so that was like
no, oh
the
my God.
perfect,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
perfect
But
crossover.
like that was like an oasis for me when I lived in
Hmm.
Seattle, because the Seattle scene was very hard to make friends in. Partially because COVID hit and I couldn't
Yeah.
go to cons for 2 years, but also because like if you think about like the cons in Seattle, you have three of the biggest conventions in the country, if not the world,
Hmm.
all in the same convention center:
Yep.
PAX, SoccerCon, and Emerald City. And I went to all of
I'm
those,
learning
and
so much.
because I'm old, I know a lot. Um,
Oh, oh, oh.
so I went to all those cons, and like, I would like meet up with friends there and stuff, but
Hmm.
they were definitely a lot harder to make friends at. And so like
Yeah.
I'd never really put roots down in the Seattle community. And that's why Idol Fest means so much to me still to this day. So I think events still exist, but I think kind of like going back to what you were saying, Jules, about the rat race, I think because
Hmm.
people see cosplayers making a living off their art, artists making a living off their art, other people making a living off of, conventions in a way, I think that that puts the idea in people's heads that like, oh, this would be the best job ever. And so they get sucked into that rat race to try and make it happen. And then it doesn't end up working out. So
Yeah.
I think that is probably not the best way of thinking for people who
I
are
will
new to
never
cosplay or
forget
entering the scene.
the first time I guested at a con that will not be named. I was given a booth, and they were encouraging me to sell things, but I didn't believe in that, so I was just giving pictures away for free, and I had a big sign that said, "Come
Hmm.
talk to me about sewing." And this woman walked up to me and we started chatting about cosplay, and she was looking at like the photos that I had laid out, and she looks at me, she goes, how much money do you make off of doing this? Like, this is expensive. Like this like
I
what
make
you
negative
make a living
money.
like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
none. I make none money being what do you no, this isn't a job. And they're like, oh, but like you're a model, so the photographers pay you. And I'm like, no.
We
I pay them
wish.
hundreds
I
of dollars
wish.
for
Yeah.
photos to post on Instagram that get
Mhm.
5 likes.
Yeah.
I'm a software engineer. That's how you will find a lot of cosplayers are software engineers or in some
Hmm.
kind of STEM field, and there's a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. I think kind of on the flip side of, sort of the beginning and corporatization of conventions, I'm so into like, not to like get communist on you guys, but I'm
Get
like
communist
super
on
into
us,
Please
like
get
comrade.
more
I
communists.
I
Comrade.
love my favorite word in the world is community. Like
Mhm.
it's my favorite thing. I think it's so fucking important. And I love one of the things I love about conventions um is that they're not profitable. A
Mhm.
lot of them
Yeah.
aren't. I prefer cons that are not making money because that's where you get the kind of weird things that the weird and like comforting things. So like a manga library is not going to make money, but is it a
Yeah.
lovely place to be able to take a breath during a con, especially if you're like overstimulated or to
Mhm.
check out a manga that you might not be able to have found otherwise. Like that is a wonderful thing. It is not making money,
Yeah.
but
The
that's
karaoke
what's great
room.
about it. Yeah,
The
exactly.
karaoke
Like
room
that's not
where
making money.
friendships are formed.
Yeah, but you can go have a drinky and sing with your
Mhm.
girlies and have a
Mhm.
great
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
You know, I read a tweet once that was something like the things that are great about cons are not things that make money. And
Mhm.
that's part of why I love them is because it's so pure. It's all about giving back to the community. It's about giving them something that is comforting, that is wonderful, that provides value in a way that can't be measured. And that's yeah, and I think that's a big part of why I love small conventions so much
Yeah.
because they're working on shoestring budgets and they're doing their best, and it's just a world where everybody's volunteering to create this thing for everybody else, and I just love when there can be an exchange of like goods and ideas and services that isn't about money. It's about trading and buying or just freely doing something for the love of it and for the love of what it provides to other people.
Cons run on
Yeah,
volunteers. So what I'm hearing is we
exactly.
meet up again at Northwest Idol Fest. Got it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh, well, now you have to come to SoCal because it's moving here.
Oh
That's
So I
no.
will be.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I've never
Whatever
Oh
been
did we
to
no.
do?
Oh
California.
no. You have to come to Los
Oh.
Angeles. Ooh.
Julie, we can
But
I've
yes.
never
allegedly steal more stacks. Allegedly.
allegedly. Um,
Allegedly.
so I used to go to San Japan because I lived in Texas, and that was the
Hmm.
con Maggie went to, and I love Maggie, right? And I love San Japan. I have nothing bad to say about San Japan. I have bad things to say about other cons.
Yes.
In moving to Colorado, the local con now that weekend is NDK Nandesu Con.
Right.
And
Hmm.
NDK, from what I have been able to look up on the internet, has about the same number of people going to it as San Japan. But you
Hmm.
wouldn't know that.
Hmm.
It feels so cozy. It
Hmm.
feels so small. Not like cramped, but like
Yeah.
small.
Intimate.
Intimate.
Like
Huh,
Maggie and
it's
I had the house party vibe. We got to just walk up and talk to people,
mhm.
Hmm.
and everyone was so nice. And I'm like, this is it. This is the vibe.
Also,
God.
Anyway,
you
so if
could
you're
see
ever
it.
free that weekend, feel
Yeah,
free to come
come
to
to
I
NDK
no,
Colorado.
with
honestly,
us.
I've been wanting to go to NDK for like 10 years,
Oh my
so
gosh, you
I
could.
have an apartment in my basement if you need a place to crash. I'm 10 minutes away from the
okay.
venue.
We'll talk. We'll talk. Because
It's
Hey,
I no longer have
hey.
a con that weekend because I moved away from Seattle, so I don't have PAX anymore.
You could
So,
crash with me and Maggie.
oh my god, that'd be so much
Yay!
You
fun.
could pet my dog.
Even better.
Sold?
She
Sold?
doesn't
You can
shed,
play
so it
Just
won't get
Dance
in
with
on
us.
costumes. We do
I'm
we
terrible
do
at
tend to
rhythm
play
games,
just
so
We do play
that's the
Just Dance quite
point.
a bit.
no.
We're not
Let
good
me
at it.
no. You want to know
Yes,
how bad I am at rhythm games? Okay,
that's okay. I'm
so
not
when
good
I
at
lived in
it.
Girl, you are an
Seattle,
idol.
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no,
good
no,
at
no.
it.
I I have musical abilities. I was in music. I've done dance. Rhythm
Perfect.
games, just over my head. I'm so bad at them that I went over to a friend's house once, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to play Persona 3 Dancing All Night?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't gotten to try it yet, so sure." Um, I was so used to playing on the Switch
Mm-hmm.
that I did not press the correct button to start the game. In fact, I exited the menu completely instead of starting the game. So I was like, this is a
I've
sign. I'm
been
just not
there.
going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, we'll play
Okay, then.
Mario Party. My husband just bought the
Yeah,
new one. It's so much
Great,
fun.
it's
great,
great. We
great.
played it
That I can do.
when Jules and Michael got married. We played it. I was really
Oh my
self
god, my
deprived.
mom busted a gut laughing at those idiots. I
I
got
was falling
married,
asleep
mazel to
sitting
me.
up playing
But it
Luigi.
was
It was great.
yeah, you were falling
That
asleep.
was it.
It was super small. It was family only,
Me.
which means Maggie got to come
Of
because
course.
I'm the
My
best.
husband has like 30 siblings and I only have one, so it was only fair I got to have one more sibling. So Maggie's
Yeah,
now my sister. Um, Instantly adopted into my family.
good.
Instantly.
I'm very
And oh my
lovable.
god, you're very lovable.
Thank you.
It was so funny watching these idiots play Mario Party at like midnight before the
Mm-hmm.
wedding.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was good. Anyway, you should come to NDK. It's a very fun con.
I will
You can
consider it.
come to our Bunniichii panel.
Ooh,
Fun
I
bun.
love a
Have we
panel.
told you what the panel actually
Our
is?
LARPing.
No.
We have a
Okay.
LARP panel.
Would you like me to do my my
Your
idol
pitch?
voice? Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Magpie, and this is Jules. Together we are Bunniichii. We are part of NDK University School Idol Club. Oh no, it's our last year at university. Whatever will we do? We need new recruits. Otherwise, the chairman and the school board will shut down the Idol Club. And didn't you know the best part about being an idol is being friends and being connected through friendship, creativity, and music? So together, we could save the Idol Club and have our own love live. Starting today, you are an idol.
We make everyone
Thank
make
you.
subunits and friendship
Thank you.
bracelets and then learn a
Thank you.
dance.
Honestly, that's the exactly the type of shit I love about cons. That's
That's right.
exactly like if you had to sum it
That's why
up,
we brought
that's
it. Maggie and I had the
NDK.
realization that a lot of idols keep doing stuff that's about them, but people who want to go
yeah.
to panels want to do stuff that's about them,
Them.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Themselves going to the panel.
Yeah.
So it's like we need to facilitate the idol dream for other people.
Mhm.
And it has been very fun every time we've gotten to run
That
it.
is
We've gotten to
genuinely fucking
do.
brilliant.
We have had Momo University, aka MomoCon. We have had NDK University, obviously
And now we're gonna have
NDK.
NDK again.
We're gonna apply again. I still want to try and do the variants of the
Oh yeah,
like
the two
the
days.
yeah. The cool part about NDK though is that they allow those really weird ideas, which is missing from a
Yeah,
lot of the
Maggie got
bigger
to do like an
cons.
hour and a half long lecture
2
about
hours,
Japanese
baby,
horror. Sorry, 2 hour long lecture about Japanese horror movies at like
from the
midnight.
90s,
And
from
people
the
Perfect.
late
showed up.
90s and early 2000s, and I got to do the
And people
psychoanalysis
showed up.
of
That's just
yokai
like
and technology and
Uh,
mental disabilities. It was great.
yeah,
I'm still holding on to that movie to watch it with you,
so
Maggie.
like fully tie
Oh,
it
I
back
have
to
it
what we've been
now.
talking about earlier
Uh,
is I think like a lot of people like especially if they're trying to like make a name for themselves in whatever
mm,
community or whatever job that they're in, they focus on doing like what's popular when in fact it's focusing on a weird thing that nobody else is talking about that is actually going to set you apart and draw people in. Boom, you did it,
well,
and that's exactly what I'm
Maggie, we
talking
need to
about.
I
try and bring
gaslit.
Bunniichii to Northwest Idol Fest.
I think this would be great.
Yes.
So, Julie, how's your rap career going?
My
You don't remember this? Okay, so Luluko,
I
you don't
remember
know
it.
this. You don't, so the concept of Bunniichii, I was selling this for a solid year, and I
She
got
worked
to a point.
very hard on
I
it.
I came up with an idea, the concept, the name. I even had a breakdown of the name. I came up with like the different types of concepts, how we could advertise ourselves, right? What type of marketability. And Julie was like, "No, Maggie. No, Maggie. I am
I
not the
don't want to be an
magpie.
idol.
I don't want to." And I say, "But Julie, I want to." And then she's like, "Maggie, you can do the magpie bit, right? But I do not sing. And my dance is fine." And I'm like, "No, Julie, I don't need a backup dancer. I want Bunniichii. It is us." But we're not doing just the variety idol stick yet. Here we are, just podcasting and LARPing. And so I created Spotify specific playlists that were curated with the perfect
We
Ooh, I
need
love
a
mix of
leaked
immersion.
rap.
Spotify playlist so
No, because
everyone
I'm
can
still
enjoy the
working on
theory of
it.
Bunniichii.
No, I'm still working on it. This is still a solid sell, and I'm not done. I
This is
accumulated the
step one.
perfect like mainstream songs from both J-pop, K-pop, and C-pop, and then I found ones that would not only fit the Julie vibes, but also had easy enough dances and rap lines.
Damn.
I
Because I
did it
can't sing, but I
all.
can carry a beat.
And and I designed our school uniforms, which we then altered so that then we were collaborative on the process. I did this all.
Damn.
It's a
This is what I'm saying. You need to have an A and a B, a depression and an ADHD in every duo. It always works out.
So
Yep.
Julie, my rap line.
Anyway, you should come to NDK so you can come to our panel. And
I
that's it.
I'm
That's the only
genuinely
reason.
Luluko.
considering it. Genuinely considering it.
Luluko. My rap
Yes.
line. Julie, you are backup dancer now.
Bet.
Perfect.
Luluko,
You
I'm
didn't
gonna send
you
you
didn't
something
ask.
on
You are
Discord.
now
I hope
rap.
you
Okay.
appreciate.
What are
We're
you
official. We have an official
Yeah, we
logo.
do.
Oh, it's so cute.
Julie did it.
See, we're
See,
official.
collaboration.
That's right. Blue and pink.
Uh,
That's us.
it means we can never have a third member. Sorry, Lulu.
That's fine. That's
You,
fine.
you could be
You're
a
only a
guest
temporary
star.
member.
You're the collab.
That's
You're the
fine.
collab with us.
That's
You're the
fine. I'm down
collab.
with that.
Star
You can't
Um,
tie me.
featuring
I'd rather just collab.
featuring Luluko.
See, then I get
yeah,
my name on the header.
Uh-huh.
you
So
get your own
see,
name.
You
What
get
color
that's
would
how
you
you
be?
stand out.
Green?
Green.
yeah,
That
you
makes a
can't
lot
see.
of sense for you.
I'm wearing all green.
That
Everything
makes
I
a
own is
lot of
green.
sense.
Green.
I'm green, dabu dee dabu green.
Good.
That's right. You met me in cosplay, so you haven't seen the full extent of my green power. But yeah,
Wait, because your hair was dyed green when you at Northwest Idol Fest, I believe,
yeah.
right?
My
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah. I was just like,
was.
we talked about this.
here are my roots. Here's the
Hey.
rest of it. It will
Perfect.
return to its glory at some point.
At some
I'm
point. For
sure it will.
NDK.
For
There you
NDK.
go. There you go.
Perfect. Oh, what? I think these are great plans.
I
Thank
agree.
you, everyone, for letting me plan your lives for you. Through the power
Honestly,
of
it's nice to have
attenuation.
help. It's nice to have
Perfect.
help.
This is the beginning of my cult. Let it be known. My true Gene, the true
Yeah, I'm down for it.
mastermind.
I'm game.
Yeah, that's
Let's
fine.
go.
That's fine. I'm tired of making
That's fine.
decisions.
Wonderful.
Oh, I think NDK has an 8-bit theme this year.
Perfect. I'll talk
I
about
don't really know.
Japanese horror video games. Ha! Psych.
Ah, there you
There we
go.
go. Perfect.
Suck it.
I don't really follow themes, but I mean, if there's any way I can like twist the definition of 8-bit and make Fields of Mystria fall into that because it's pixel art,
I think
then
that
you might be getting Fields of Mystria. Just saying. That
I
game
think
has
this
me
is
in a
good.
chokehold. Chokehold.
I'm ready. I want to date hot anime boys and girls, and yeah, I'm ready.
You know, in
Everyone.
dating sims like this, I'm normally way more into the girls. The guys in this are S tier.
Oh, I've seen like I don't remember which one, but I saw one of the guys and I was like, oh,
Oh.
But like their
I just know.
personalities are just S tier. And I'm like, oh
Oh,
no,
thank
this is
God, thank
truly
God.
the bi panic. You could date anyone as any gender, it's great.
Oh,
Oh,
beautiful.
It's the
marvelous.
dream.
The dream.
Maggie,
Truly.
when the game comes
Eh,
out, you need to finish Baldur's Gate 3.
eh. Finish the game? What? Eh? What?
You need to finish Persona.
Oh God.
Lulu, have you
Persona!
played BG3?
I played P3P like a decade ago, or
No,
like 15
BG3.
years ago. Oh, no, I haven't. I know it's gonna eat my life, that's why I haven't touched it.
Ah, you should play it.
When I have time to have a new obsession, I will. But
If
currently I
you
do not
play
have
it,
time.
feel free to message me at literally any hour of the day. I
I
will
will.
respond. Much like the bat signal. If BG3 shows up in my Discord, I'm there.
I understand. We all have those, I
It is
think.
cocaine. That game, when I got it, it was a problem because I logged easily 20 hours in a week while I was working. I was working that week.
When Three Houses came out, I played it for 40 hours in the first week. It was my second
That
job.
sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. That's why I know to stay away from things that will eat my brain because I'm like, who has the time?
BG3 will eat your brain. So will Fields of Mystria. You should play both.
One of them I can't currently, but the other we'll see. I don't have time for other brain rot
I will
currently.
convert people so I can get a BG3 cosplay group.
Bro,
I'm
I get
gonna
that.
fucking do it.
See,
I'm
there you go.
gonna
There's your
do it.
motivation to get sewing again.
Look,
So hear me
I
out. There's a
have all of the
pirate in the
fabric for
game. There's a
Isabel.
pirate in
He's
BG3,
not a
and if you
pirate.
like pirates,
He's not a
he's a pirate.
pirate.
He's a pirate.
He's a prince.
He's a pirate prince.
Ooh.
Actually, he's a duke's son, but
Wrong. He's a
he's not a
pirate.
pirate.
He's a pirate. If you
I'm
are a
gonna
loved
hang up on
one,
you now. Anyway, Lulu, thanks for
Catherine.
showing up to our podcast.
Of
Is
course.
that
Thank
the
you for
end?
having me.
I
We've
hope
been
you
going for an
enjoyed your
hour, over an
time
hour.
here.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
did.
right. I do
It
have
was really nice to
breakfast.
get to chat with you guys again.
Thank you.
I will bother you on Discord now that I'm a little less scared of you.
Good. Thank you. I'm sorry you were
I
scared of
will.
me.
You're just too
I will as well.
cool.
No,
You're so green.
that's true.
Yeah.
That part's true.
It's true. It's true.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
You
As per
too.
usual, I'm gonna go.
Wait. I gotta do the thing. I gotta do the thing. Is there anything you're looking forward to that you're gonna do soon?
Oh
Also,
yeah.
I'll put social stuff here if you want. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
Go.
yeah. You can find me everywhere at Luluko Hime, or except on Blue Sky, I'm just Luluko there, because I was able to claim my name finally.
Nice.
I currently
Proud
do
of
not
you.
have any judging gigs lined up this year, so I don't know when I'll see anybody else out of state,
Are you
but
making any costumes this
Are you
year?
making anything?
I am making plenty of costumes. I am planning to compete at the World Winter Cosplay Championship at the end of this
Oh
year.
hell
So
yeah!
uh, I'm
Awesome.
I'm very excited to compete for my first international title.
Best
Well,
of
we
luck.
will be watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Take
And
good,
it is an
Escort.
idol costume, actually.
What?
So I'm
Oh,
gonna
Are
show
you
the
gonna?
girlies how it's done.
hell yeah.
Yes. We look forward to it. We'll be cheering
Yeah,
you
I'm excited.
on.
Thank you.
Fighting.
Gamba Ruby.
Gone.
On that note, as per usual, I'm going to leave to go pet my dog. Thank you all for
Anyways,
being here
I've
Great.
been
with
Jules
me.
and I've been Magpie. Everyone, thank you for coming to the Bunniichii Corner podcast. I love you all.
Yay.
Bye.
Mwah.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.